Part of this video. Um, I did prepare this, and so basically, I want to build that pretty nether portal here, and clean this area up so you don't fall in the snow, and maybe even make a path would make sense. Get rid of this. Um, I think I wanted some. See, and this is just terrible stuff. Can I leave? What the hecky? What the hecky? Thank you for cool. Not cool. That's why we're doing that. Right here, I want the wizard tower. So yes, I want to remove this. And yeah, I just want to update you of that is the plan. And I don't know, just clipping things. So cool beans. Thank you. Okay, so I did AFK a bit. Bro, I made a bunch of videos. I've been doing, because I did like a 2 hour video. And I've been doing, and also it's steering towards more political stuff actually, because I've been talking about like gun reform. Oh my gosh. A lot's been happening. I've been busy. So I did mention that. Oh, I wanted to show you, or at least acknowledge that. So yeah. 135 from the creep farm. I would have been on 700 with that other farm. I'm telling you. So I wanted to listen to the music disc. That was the point of this recording. Because I couldn't hear it when I was watching that video. And I've been thinking about the experience for the viewer, as in this one. As in I have to not always think about not that I do, but I need to be mindful about just thinking about the new viewer, and making the video for the new viewer, and also the viewers that are, which I would actually care more about, that are going to be watching it like a series, watching this episode, and then you're watching the next one. So this is very relevant actually, and I have to be mindful of that. And I believe that this is a instance of mindfulness. And yeah. And so with the gun reform, basically with Charlie Kirk and stuff, I am against the Second Amendment incompleteness, and I was explaining that, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna mention that. I'm gonna leave explanations alone, because of relevance. I already said it over there, and it's a big topic, so of relevance. And yeah, so I've been enjoying the TikTok channel, and I just feel very, very good about it. Excited, more than, and confident, And I remember we were analyzing this. And also, I didn't know what instrument I was talking about in the video. I couldn't hear the instrument I was talking about. And the instrument that it might have seemed that I was talking about was not the instrument I was talking about. But then I go further and describe the instrument, and then it couldn't have been that instrument. And yeah. And then, so I changed my mind on gun reform. I mean, I guess I'll explain it. We're listening to music right now. This pop it off though. Oh, and I was very surprised. And I do have to be mindful of the new viewer. I was very surprised. I thought I didn't like this music disc, and yeah, and it's kind of popping. It was popping off, wasn't it? And it's good. So I guess I'll mention it a little bit. Basically, I just don't think that there should be guns. Yes, I don't think. Oh, to be more pronouncing. I was listening to this lady, and she said she doesn't believe that people have the right to express that, and then I thought about that further, and again, not the full description of motives of change that is on my TikTok. Not that I even linked my TikTok, but not that I even linked my TikTok, and I don't plan to either, because yeah. Yeah, at this moment, no, I don't. That's why I'm kind of letting it stand alone. But yeah, you just don't have a right to express yourself. And then people will say, express yourself in that manner. And people will say that the defense thing, I have a very concise argument. The defense thing, and I was with Charlie Kirk, that I would take some gun deaths um, in that manner, because that's what he said. In that manner, and he said it about school shootings. He said, let's go over there, because the music ended. He said it about. So this is just gonna be a clip that stands alone. It's just I'm just a political person. I'm sorry. He said that school shootings, he would accept some school shootings, and I took his point and her point and have mutated the point to where I have gotten to such an extreme, because beforehand I was for being armed, or didn't go against being armed in such a manner, but he was for school shootings, and that being acceptable if it meant that the general public got to keep their guns, that he would accept those deaths. That's what he says. And then I took that and I actually used that logic, but in different manner, and in reference to her argument of you not having the right to have guns. And with that, with those premises, ain't this so fucking pretty? I'm gonna put that over there. That's gonna be the next clip. And I already showed you that other stuff. So with it mutated together, I would basically be okay, and in reference to defense, I would be okay with taking a few gun deaths where you guys can't the citizens can't defend themselves. Someone, my friend brought up, a personal friend this time, not somebody online. Even though I would make that distinction anyway. They brought up that, like, a woman, and someone actually online actually brought this up too, that a woman, how a gun would be more viable for a woman because she can't protect herself, and an argument for defense of where you can't protect yourself. And I believe in the barriers, see, because now I did get into the complete idea. I believe in the barriers, and my argument for it would be, for instance, murder is illegal. Guns would be illegal in this ideal framework, of, yeah. And oh my God, TikTok is so much easier. I can just condense it down. And I'm doing this with no notes, but I'm doing very well. So with dang it. And now it's becoming like the other videos where I would just be talking for like an hour. Cause yeah. And it's gonna be kind of like that, because that's just the theme. This, oh, it was so pretty, wasn't it so pretty? Oh, let me, how about do the lanterns? We'll do activity. Activity video. Okay. So in reference to defending yourself, just get us back on base. I would accept the deaths of such a niche scenario, of the woman not being able to protect herself. And he and my friend mentioned that someone would, like, blah blah arguing and stuff, and someone goes to the crib, and, like, let's say he's beating up on your wife, right? And then someone goes to the house and gets a gun and to defend themselves, and that's the argument. And my argument is that you don't have the right to defend yourself. And no, that would be misquoting the argument of its integrity. Gosh, I just want a clip right now so bad. Dang, give me a break. God damn. Okay, yeah, and also no notes. This is bullshit. No fucking notes. This is bullshit. Okay, I could fucking write this down and it'd be better. Fucking bullshit. That's why I love TikTok. I love TikTok so much. I cannot wait. I would rather that blow up than this blow up. And they blow up together, but that's why I'm fucking. But no notes though. No. Oh, I'm forgetting what I'm doing. No, I'm clipping. Give me a second. Okay, like, I won't. It's different. It's different than TikTok, because I won't be clipping like in this, but I clip and, like, because I would be cutting these parts out. Especially if you watch the TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. I respect such a viewer. I have the notes, all the notes. Yeah. So the argument's gonna be laid out beautifully. You're gonna walk away with the understandings, and yeah. So let's go over there. Okay, so basically, and I'm gonna revamp everything and re-explain it, obviously. So, okay, so I was against being armed, but couldn't defend against the defense argument. don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I went to the beginning. Oh, so this is me personally because I was rewatching the video, so I have to go over like the points. I was like right here when I made that point about I was for being for guns, and and I'm mentioning the notes are mentioning that I was against being I was against guns. I was leaning against having guns, and I just could not defend against the defense argument, which is what we're about to go over. So that was why I was kind of for guns, and that's what I said. I was for guns, even though I would just mention, this is just mentioning that I was in the ideology of getting rid of the guns, and I just did not know how to defend against that. Therefore, it put me further right. Murder on the streets with gun would be less viable with a gun. Come on now. I was gonna save these notes. No. Let me stop critiquing my notes. I don't talk about that's because I'm freestyling. Let's just get on topic. Let's try to make this a short clip. How about that? So murder on the streets with a gun would be less viable due to barriers. And then I was talking about murder, and I was talking about this stuff. Murder being illegal. Because of there are respected barriers in place, and you can still murder someone, and it would still be a higher threshold, making it more of a minority case. So therefore, the people using the gun and like people using the gun on the street to rob somebody for their watch is less viable of a solution. Way better explained on TikTok because I did it. I like TikTok. Yeah. This is too informal. Yeah, so with the murder example, people would kill over a racist comment. Let's say it's not illegal for murder, not illegal. People will kill over a racist comment or someone hitting their car, and there are barriers in place that don't allow for the murder, and so that makes it more of a minority case if someone is being murdered. And it would be a minority case for someone to even have a gun. So we're already talking about minority cases here because of, especially 200 years down the line, the frowned uponness of how did you even get a gun. So basically with the school shooting, the question would be how did he get a gun, not how was he in the mindset to go and shoot a school. These are different barriers. There are different yes. And so okay, next. So yeah, wouldn't rob someone for their watch because of the barriers. And use a gun to do such because you would do it for something else, making it less active of a problem. And I would be accepting death because these cases would be minority. The people not being able to defend themselves is such a minority case. Already, like how murder is a minority case, and how, yes, respect for the vocab word of barriers in reference to this conversation. Cool. I did kind of already say that though. Well, said it adequately. Right. So, and then my argument for violence and violent people, because then my friend was making the argument that people are like, okay, so I have to break it down a little bit. So basically the citizens, I would say that they would give up their guns, and then then they were like, there's criminals who aren't going to give up their guns. And then I'm arguing against that too, because the criminal, there you have to distinguish what type of the variety of criminal, because the criminal who does not know they're a criminal, that 22-year-old who shot Charlie Kirk did not know he was a criminal last year. Therefore, they would give up their guns. And then I'm acknowledging that there are extreme criminals. I can accept it, and I would argue for that idea in a sidestep of it, better education is what I would argue. And a practical manner of what I mean by that, and very briefly said, would be the removal of sexist and racist and Christian ideologies and views, and being actively taught against. And if you're leaving high school, you should not be able to not comprehend, you should not be able to walk out with a racist and sexist idea. And I didn't put this in the notes, but I did note in my head that I would have to explain how I would remove like a racist ideal and a sexist ideal. And I'll use the white man for Charlie Kirk of how he because it's so relevant, and yeah, it helps. How the white man valuing Charlie Kirk, and this is Charlie Kirk's, and how I believe the white man should not value that, and in basis of him being white and a male is not enough, because, and this is how you break it, you break it by explaining the brain. So Charlie Kirk believes that if I put a black woman into the course of astronomy, chemistry, I put her in there, the professor actively taught her everything, actively taught her, she has learned it. He believes that she is not qualified and did not learn it. So he's arguing against the brain here. And that does include a white male he thinks that if you put and then I'm just going to remove all the connotations with it, if you put a brain into a full rigorous course of completed thought of actually getting the ideals down, therefore that brain, he believes that brain did not go through it, and that does include a white male, that he thinks that the brain, and yes, so then when you talk about them as homo sapiens, and then with sexist beliefs and sexist and racist, I am more firm on sexist beliefs because I think racist is better understood and aligns with the problem, and therefore, because you can have a non-racist person and them be sexist still, and so they're missing the point. And the point would be that the brain does not, because I'm just going to be upfront about it. I've been being very, very upfront about it on this TikTok page, that things like a woman being nurturing and a male being the protector are sexist at nature. This is where you guys don't understand that. On how a brain would not automatically be protecting. And protecting is a weaker argument due to males being physically bigger, but I can acknowledge that. But then but you should be able to, as an educated, should be able to acknowledge that nurturing does not have such traits. Therefore, the idea of, and then with the protector, now he's paying for you, so then you took it off of that, therefore that's not valid. So him paying for stuff, and him having gender norms, sexist, and yes, with the nurturing, with her being nurturing, the brain is not automatically nurturing. You're taught nurturing. Therefore, the male can be nurturing, and women can be protectors, and they're automatic, and like passenger princess of trying to fit into gender norms. I'm gonna fix this area. That's actually what I'm doing. Yeah, but okay. And then actively taught against, I think if you don't understand the brain, you can be, if you're sexist and racist, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the fluidness of the brain, and that is a summary of the idea in its summarized version. In Christian ideologies, I do not have to explain that. I am a avid atheist, and if you got here, I'm not explaining that because that's actually the main point. That's the main point. And I'll skip it. So yes, and please note the briefness of me not being on TikTok. On the right to defend yourself, let's bring it back to guns. The right to defend yourself, better worded. I was very divisive, accidentally, and not really divisive. I didn't want you to, I literally cut it there, because come on now, let's not. And I wasn't even divisive, it was just not well explained. So on the right to better worded would look like you don't have the right to enact the force of the gun. I don't even know what I said for a quote. I'm not gonna quote it. I just said it. You quote it. You don't have the right to enact the force of a gun. Okay. And to quote the lady directly, which would be helping, because I was mentioning her and like Kirk with the school shooting. I explained that well, but with her, to explain her directly, you can feel like he deserves to die, but you don't have the right to decide that for him or us as the population. So you don't have the right to enact your decision in such a manner And so with that, I agree that people don't have the right to decide such a decision, especially as the average citizen. And then I would have to, obviously, let's look at something pretty. Explain what the average citizen looks like to me, um, which is a peaceful citizen. Um, and okay. And I might not explain. I do actually, because I care about that. In reference to the lady getting beat up, because I was speaking about that. So I argue that the husband has no right to make such a lethal decision on the perpetrator of that decision. And so I was talking about education as a preventive act, so that she won't get beat up on because of your sexist, racist, Christian ideals that prohibit such action of you thinking that a man is violent, and therefore him thinking that also, and a woman thinking that, and prohibiting that, and also producing that, and not being able to break down that a brain is not automatically violent. Therefore, it would be Jimmy is violent. It would not be men. Yeah. So, and that should be removed. You shouldn't be able to get out of high school with such a lack of understanding of the brain, and that's argument for education reform and preventive action. That's in a practical manner. But sidestep that. Also, respect for the police. I do have a respect for the police in the manner of you call the police and I trust them with such a vicious weapon. Then so people will go against. No, let me just keep it in the how I wrote it. So another note would be I'm not okay for the average citizen to have an atomic bomb on same principles. And if you bring down the extremeness of an atomic bomb, the gun still managed to fall into that category and on that side of you don't have the right to make that decision. So, and then, okay, back to the police, respect for them. They are the ones who are responsible for handling the weapons. But let's see what I said. Arguably, the niche case of someone feeling comfort to put their hands on someone. Oh, yes, okay, yeah, they should be the ones who are handling. You don't have a right to go get the gun and shoot that person who is hitting the wife. That is the police's job to go and handle that situation, not yours. And okay, and the better education against the violent people. And so, okay. So let's just go on, because cool. I don't think it is the citizen's job to defend in that manner, right? And then people will naturally bring up the point of the police or government going against us. And I also am thinking about immediate action, and I think that's a argument for, even though I'm arguing for, let's just leave that there. I didn't. Let's just leave that there because I'm just aware of it. I can be aware of it, and we're gonna skip over it, not ignoring it. And I did care to mention it because I thought of it, and yeah. And again, this is not TikTok. This is not even TikTok. This is Minecraft. Anyway, so okay. I don't think it is the citizen's job to defend in that manner. People, okay, will naturally bring up the police and the government going against us. And so, okay. And this is where I talk about the citizen, I believe. I would argue the average citizen doesn't deserve a gun, right? Okay. And if we are going against the police, I would urge for a third party who would have the military might to fight such an opponent. So I'm distinguishing the citizen. You don't have the right to. I believe that someone does have the right to go against the government in this scenario. And notably, and notably with you having a gun, you think you have a gun. Okay. Notably, with the citizens' belief that they will be able to rival, like if we're taking that argument, they believe that they can rival the modern day military, who are extreme in preparation, ability of training is what I'm thinking about, of preparation as in coordination and technology, meaning the rockets, the tanks, and such, that your guns, let's talk about Kirk again and the shooter and his family with the guns, their supply of guns have no way. And then someone actually did argue that they could rival the military, which is a good point. Actually, that is a good point. That is something that people truly believe, that they can rival the military. And I think it's because they took the peasants doctrine. I'm just hoping that I have a viewer. Yeah, and if you got here and you also know that that peasant doctrine is such a buzzword, right? So like dopamine. They stole the peasants' doctrine of this constitution where they did not know about a tank, and so the Second Amendment, and so your guns actually you could rival the government. Therefore, they stole a peasant's doctrine and they're plagiarizing the peasant, and actually it does not qualify because you're not rivaling the military. So no. So yes, to go back to the notes of it's completely unfounded, and the guns would are putting us more at risk due to unfounded ideals of you being able to take down the government, and and they would do you in. I'm arguing the city y'all would get done in. And he said there's like a bunch of us versus them. Yeah, they have. You'll get done in. Do you see their jets? They'll do you. You don't think they'll not do you? I don't know what you're talking about. So yes, I just fundamentally disagree with that. That's easy to disagree with, and then to take that within our framework of so yes, I trust the police. And with the third party military who would theoretically have to go at the government, I'm arguing that that is the police. And therefore they have the might, the military might that I would argue that. And then, one of the commenters, they were like, and this is just a plot hole they fell in. You know, it might be common also. They said that whatever they said. Hold on, I'm gonna clip it. They said with the military, I don't know exactly what they said, but it's in reference to this of there will be people in the military who will go against the military. I forget what he's relating this to, but there are people who will go against the military in the like police force, and that was just argument to strengthen the argument that them being corrupt is misguided, and not and against the law. I believe in the law. I believe in the agreed upon understandings, and to go against that, I'm not going against that. And I'm trying to remember. He said, because I said the police. Yes, I remember. I said the military will do you in, and he said, well, there are people who will go against the military, and then what I just explained, it goes against him. Of exactly. That's why you don't need a gun. You don't need a gun because they'll moderate themselves. Therefore, right. And then we're at the end. Arguably, the police. Therefore, a citizen has no right to have. Oh yeah, arguably the police, period. Therefore, a citizen has no right to have such a tool. I also argue against gun reform, this just tagged on, due to them arguing on technicalities of modifications. And I would notably be different in arguing for the complete removal. And that happened after Kirk's death. Because obviously he was just mentioned in how we got to such conclusions of personality. Complete removal, and that would be different from the agreed upon understanding of what reform means. Therefore, I would not be an advocate of gun reform. I would be more extreme, and I am far left anyway, so because of atheism. And I'm gonna save this because obviously, but it's well said on the TikTok also. Not in school. Oh, school has been going well. I think I already mentioned that to you guys. Or I don't even know. I don't even have a TikTok folder. Oh no. Cool. Yeah. And I didn't even do the lights, which is crazy work. I had to look at notes. I didn't think I was gonna look at notes. And yeah, that is the synopsis of why I'm against that. And I've been talking about more stuff too, which is very fun. And yeah. And I want to put lights down, but at this point, yeah, I don't think. No, I just might clip it. I forget about clip. I don't forget about clipping. Obviously remembered. So I'll be right back. That's all I wanted to say. That's not all I want to say. That wasn't. I didn't even want to say that. It just happened. Cool. I'll be back. Going to finish this next time. Finish the Nether portal next time. Also keeping times low. And also I want to go ahead and edit that video and re-listen to it so I can add any clips that I feel are necessary to broaden the argument and strengthen the argument in specificity. So let me do that, and actually it might be I don't know what the heck's gonna happen. I just gotta watch this video so I can see if I am 100% okay. I am 100% okay. That was exactly what I had to say. But yeah, on length 2 of the video, how about let's just move that to next time. But okay, goodbye. Yeah, I did find something to say completely unrelated. Tay Games, she passed away to colon cancer, and I need to note to you guys, she is the reason I made this world, Forever World. She has the Pink Village. If you look her up, Tay Games, black lady, she made a Pink Village, and and yes, I played Minecraft for a very long time. She was still inspiration, and the fact that she passed away, yes, crazy stuff, and it directly affects the world because that was the inspiration actually for the start of this, and that's very that's notable. And so yes, I did have something else to say that related to our let's play, and yeah, I just okay, we'll see what else. So in regards to the video, at the 25-minute marker, I didn't explain it as well as I would like. So, and normally on TikTok, I would just clip it in there and even just mention author's note and throw myself in there right there, just so I can explain it. But it's at the end. So basically, the point was the peasant doctrine of the people who created the Second Amendment, they did not know about the tank. That was the premise. And to better explain it, so that group of people in their time, in their little peasant times, with their flintlock guns or whatever, they actually did have a chance of rivaling the government in defending themselves. They actually did have a chance. And I was mentioning that you're plagiarizing the peasants' belief because you thinking you can rival the government is not founded in anything catering to the fundamental changes that have happened. And you would be plagiarizing their work on someone who could rival the government, and you cannot. And that was that point. And okay, so let me finish up the video. I'm very close to the end. I just have to add this. So yeah, that's everything I had to say actually, and that is officially the end. Like, this is the official last clip. I want to throw in, I'm tempted even in this day, I get end a video within my day to fix that, because that was what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do. And put the lanterns. That is something I can see me personally doing immediately right now due to me not thinking about that conversation at all. And I gotta go get more wood. But okay, that's all. And actually, because I said wood, and then so okay, I'm gonna throw in there because we were just talking about it. That people who say no homo are being sexist, unintentionally. I do admit unintentionally, rather than a racist knowingly being racist, of unintentionality. But no homo of it's just sexist. It's sexist, and yeah, and I didn't open up the conversation anyway. So, respectfully, I did not go into it. Why? You don't even know why I said that. I just said it, and notably, and on grounds of same logics that I'm just not. I'm just ending the video. That's all. I'm tired. I'm not tired. I'm tired of this video. I want to go and do the next one. Bye. Bye now. Bye now. I just, and I feel like I do kind of have to explain it. So let me do that. Explained it in a TikTok. So I do have the brief argument and synopsis on arguments of, let's say on arguments of hatred of gay people first and foremost, but sexist arguments on grounds of even how gay people are perceived. Let's just okay. On grounds of, should I take notes? Oh my god. Of course I should write it down. It just sounds better when you write it down. Don't ever do that. For talking to me. So, gay people and no homo. Okay. So, with people doing a gay voice, and we're just gonna go over all the points. With people doing a gay voice and the voice being established, and a voice not being gay, how a gay voice, let's be for real. Yeah, how would that be gay? And that, and I don't respect that. And okay, we're gonna go into the feminine traits. That was the buzzword with that idea. So the idea of anti-gay with no homo, anti-gay, and establishing gender norms and enforcing it, and especially on the idea of anti-gay, of why I'd be against no homo, but more broadly, which is where the crux of my issues are. Rather than just hate. Yeah. I could ignore like someone, whatever. Okay, let's not get off my script. My script is important. So I bring up the trans argument, and my version of the trans argument, notably, where the brain is fluid, therefore gender norms are disabilitating, and I use disabilitating like as a buzzword because I will definitely say that if I'm relating to Christianity. So disabilitating thought, and in relation to Christianity, of you are allowing thoughts of, for instance, ChatGPT told somebody that they'll see them in the afterlife, and that person believed it due to Christian ideology, and that's not how it works. And okay, we're gonna skip it, but that is the crux of disabilitating thought, of where your thought and Christianity in this section of heaven and hell, and that's why you get mass suicide. And then the people were blaming it on ChatGPT, which is not the problem. The problem is your disabilitating thought, where an extreme Christian, because I understand the Christian has the idea of the barriers and is leaning in secular thought, secular non-religious scientific thought, leaning into that, and but if you dare not be aware of that and truly believe in the Christian doctrine, these are the people who are affected most by the Christian doctrine. These are the true Christians of what a Christian represents. You will fall into mass suicide, killing yourself because you think you're gonna go to a better place, polluting the world because you think there is somewhere else. This is where the true Christians are. And gender norms are disabilitating with sexist and racist, is how I refer to that, the type of disabilitating thought. And we'll get into gender norms more right here. So, and I have respect for the trans group, and I'm far left, mind you, of because they confront such ideas on gender norms. No, I don't think they're well spoken for. How Charlie Kirk well spoken for the Republicans. We have not had such representation in such a manner, where I do think Charlie Kirk gets a day because Martin Luther King gets a day. And I do think, and no, on grounds of strong representative of your group of people, on grounds of being productive with the actual population, he was very needed. And yeah, anyway, off him. Trans do not explain this, but they are confronting such ideas with uprightness. So back to no homo. So being related to all this, in the ideas of frowning on men being together and the urge to separate yourself from feminine traits, sexist, and the argument against the propagation of, I argue against propagating feminine and masculine traits, and because it disrespects the fluid nature of the brain, which again the trans ideology acknowledges that the fluid nature of the brain is how you get to that issue. And the feminine and masculine traits, therefore masculine traits are, therefore to propagate such disabilitating thought like that is the main point, and the propagation of it is the biggest problem of not being able to see the sexist thought. You can see the racist thought, you'll see a racist thought, the feminine and masculine traits, so you're not as aware of the sexist argument. Therefore, and I don't think you should be, I would love for the kids to not be able to walk out without that, of school without that. So to gender norms, enforcing gender roles, and like, yeah, where I put where you don't think two brains who positively interact with, and I'd love to put two brains, two Homo sapiens who positively interact with each other has grounds for an ethical relationship. And I guess that's more of homophobic. In relation to gender roles, which was thoroughly explained here, with the feminine and masculine, how a female, it should be fluid, and I am sad that she has to think of herself as nurturing, and he does not think he is automatically nurturing of, yes, of, I'm sad that she thinks that that was a masculine trait when in reality it's a general trait, and the sexes don't have genders. I would actually go against the gender word, to that implies the societal norms, and I would extremely mention that sex and gender could be fluid as the same, and to remove such connotations on gender where you are implying gender roles and you're trying to imply males are blue, girls are pink. This is sexist. This is full-on sexist ideology. And yeah, and so to say no homo, you are propagating that, and I do think that is my biggest problem, the promoting and reproducing of these ideals, of the sexist ideals, which is what is enforcing them more than anything, and education is what I see here. And yeah, and so to even say no homo is wrong, fundamentally. From a non-racist view, I'm going to put racist there so you can see the similarity of how you disrespect the brain properly. You need to know it, and arguably huge reform of the education system on basis of sexism, and that does include racism, but I will be mentioning sexism first and foremost because you do know about the racist. You, the average liberal, does not know about that sexist shit, does not know, and would argue against me about it. And they would be completely racist. And also, if you have a doctorate in college, I'm calling for grounds of how dare them even be sexist and racist on, then I don't believe they were educated in the manner of, I believe in true reform, a rehaul of what we're even teaching our third graders. You want to test them at third grade? I actually have a different curriculum for them. That is updated, arguably not updated, and it does not appear to be updated, and the population is showing it is not updated. Therefore, yeah, and that's all. Let's not make the video longer. I don't even know. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm saying bye. Bye.